watercolor tray tin thing. And so this whole surface is magnetized. So you can see I've got magnets on the back of this thing, although I really don't need to because the whole thing's magnetic anyway. I've even magnetized my little white pad. And I do not have my airbrush on me right now. I'm looking forward to getting that back because I can really start playing with paint once I've got that thing. So right now I wanted to do something that was a little bit like this scape, only maybe add some more graphic elements. This one I just clicked over to Restream, went to check to see if it was on Twitch. Yeah, according to my client, it says I am live on Twitch. Oh, it says I'm live on YouTube too. I didn't even do anything. There's also something that plugs in with Twitter. It's not Twitter itself. It's something called Periscope that I'm going to get set up soon. My Bluetooth mouse is not mousing. One sec. Oh, I think I know what I need to do. All right, now it should work. All right. Yeah, the magnetic surface is awesome. It solves my problem of I've got a certain angle that I like to draw straight lines. Yeah. Oh, yay! It says it's online. Yeah. Yay! We're in business. So yeah, I was gonna make something a little bit like this. Like I said with this one, is I add a little bit of watercolor pencil to it, but I really don't want to touch it. I'd rather just start a new one. They go pretty fast. All right, so we get started here with brushes. So yep, I've just put little magnets on my brushes as well. See it right here. And the magnetizing the water thing over here is a little bit dangerous. We've had some mishaps. So I'm just going to start with colors I like and make some abstraction. And I've been pretty inspired by 70s sci-fi like Paul Lehr, Lehr, and so I consider these to have kind of that look a little bit, as well as I might do something a little more organic this time than The Last City. We'll see where it goes. I especially like the game of streaming improvisation. It keeps me on my toes. Alright, so while it's before the water has too much of a chance to dry, it's actually been raining here, which is quite wonderful, not only because I like the rain, but because I'm in the thick of kind of a fire hazard area, so hopefully the risk will go down. But what it also means is that I should have a little bit more of a working window. Hello, Foliage. I do not recognize your username. Hello, welcome to the stream. Just in time to see me play with paint here. So I'm gonna go and just start adding color and see what happens with it. What I love about working on the sloped surface is I can kind of let gravity do some work here. Yeah, I kind of like this shape already. It seems like kind of maybe it can be kind of this murky. It doesn't really have to be a city, really. It can be anything at this point. It's just been kind of a common thread lately. And this color is interesting. It looks green, but it lays down yellow. It's also kind of a nice green yellow, but when it's spread very thinly, it looks very just straight up yellow. It's one of my favorite pigments to work with. Very vivid. It goes great with burnt sienna. Yeah, let's add some burnt sienna. I love watercolor when I do traditional medium. I mean, most of my work is digital, but it's so hard to simulate fluid dynamics. Yep, the color is, I just showed this tube the last time I streamed. I should probably not get distracted while I've got this wet paper window. It's a nice thing about watercolor is I find that it actually kind of fosters a flow state, because it kind of forces you to constantly be paying attention to it, because you have these very narrow windows in which things are open to being worked in. And so typically for something like this, I would start wet on wet, and then kind of as time goes on, as I add layers, get drier and drier until it's you know, just working solely on dry paper. It gives a nice sense of depth. Yeah, I'm going to get really bold here. I usually don't get this bold with pigment, but if I'm going to fail, I'll fail spectacularly because it's a better show. Yeah, see, what I love about watercolor is when there's a gradient of wetness. It's green gold. Yeah, it's oh yeah, I love that. Hello Belinda, it's good to see you. Yeah, it is. It's Winsor & Newton green gold, professional watercolor, and I don't know where I put the tube. It's a great pigment. I love that you guys can recognize the pigment just from like this fact, despite the fact that it's behind this veil of a digital camera. So what I'll be doing with this is, as I work up layers, I would like to go in with micron pens and kind of outline the shapes I like. Oh, awesome! Thank you for checking. Yeah, my computer is actually barely good enough to stream using my secondary light machine for this, so it really helps to not have to open up a bunch of tabs. Now got me looking for my green gold. But yeah, but this Restream's pretty great, as I can see everybody's chat. Oh, cool! Nice to meet you, Felchmaster 9000. The YouTube channel is, I think it's just my name. If you just Google, so here, I don't know the exact URL, but if you put into YouTube, put in Deep Morph, and the first video should be by me. It's like a deep dream, crazy, trippy morph video thing. So you could just go to my channel from that. It's probably the easiest way to get to it. So you can see what I'm doing with this brush here is I'm using the side of the brush. I was showing this the last couple times. I absolutely love this technique. You can just get these great straight architectural lines. I'd like to invest in more brushes so I can have different widths. I haven't done enough watercolor to justify it, but I've been doing a lot more of it lately, so I think it might be time. I basically have this one, and this one, is and those are the only widths I have. So it's a little bit limiting, but not too bad. Oh, so since I have some watercolorers in the audience, I have these Winsor & Newton watercolor markers. I kind of splurged on these, and I thought I might give these a try as well, because after I do this Sienna pass, I'm gonna bring one in, and they're a little bit, it's hard to change the amount of pigment used, so they're a little tricky to work with. I did a demo a couple of days ago in the stream with one, and I found that it was kind of, we'll see. I'll do another one with them, give them another chance. Yay! So yeah, the next realm to get the stream onto is YouTube. For the people coming in, there is something called Periscope that links with YouTube and allows you to get live video, not YouTube, but Twitter. Allows you to get video directly into Twitter. So I'll deal with that the next time I stream. So yeah, right now I've got the paper just where I want it, where it's damp. It's at like 20% dampness. And what it means is that I have a lot of control, but I get just enough bleed that you can just see this little irregular mark on the paper. If I had my webcam had a little more fidelity, I don't know, I don't think you guys can actually see some of these nuances. I'm trying to stand up. So my one thing with doing this, one suggestion I'd like to make to my watchers is, if you see me slouching, yell at me and just write posture in chat so I can remember to sit up straight. Just probably, like, I consider this right now to be like good posture, like something like that. But I'll have a tendency to do this, and if you see me do it, yell at me. I may play music, but I don't know how all the different platforms handle the copyright issue. Twitch has, in the recording, it'll silence everything, including my voice, if it detects copyrighted music. So, I mean, I guess I could try to find some stuff in public domain. So, I'm gonna do some swooshy stuff here, because I think, yeah, this is what I love in watercolors. The previous marks have been like mostly obliterated, but there's this little ghost of them showing through. And so for the artists following this, there's some really talented people in here right now. So go ahead and post the links to your own sites so people can follow you. Looking at you guys, Ingrid and Belinda. I'm using cold pressed paper, which allows me, when my brush is very, when sable brushes get to be a certain kind of dampness, they get very stiff. I love that about them, because then I can just glide it over the paper and like really see the texture of the paper. It's like kind of a dry brush effect. So adding some of that now. So the circulation's pretty bad in this right now. It's kind of all over the place, but one thing at a time. And see, after I've added this, I can then go in with some water and just selectively kind of blend. It's a great way to do it. It kind of creates this kind of sense of wetness and rain. Alright, I'm going to try to introduce some of the watercolor marker now. What's cool about these is that they're full-on watercolor pigments. They're like Winsor Newton professional watercolors. So it means it's nice to find a marker that's like actually archival paint in disguise. This blue doesn't obviously match this blue, but what's kind of fun about this is because the paper is a little bit damp still, is I can get these nice wet on wet effects, but not too much, you know. I really think that watercolor is probably the hardest medium to master. I mean, it's you can't really make an easy or hard statement about art, but there's a lot of dimensions to how watercolor works. So this may actually be a little bit too wet on wet for my taste, but I can always go in and tighten up some of these shapes with yeah, so you can kind of see the difference. If I really want to wreck stuff, I'll go in and go in with my spray bottle and just let it all drip. Maybe not this one, maybe the next one. It's really cool how quick these can go. I've been moving a good amount of originals at events, and I can put these at an affordable price point for people who aren't used to owning originals. And it works out for me because I can keep things interesting. My old traditional media, like years ago, I would put so much time into these larger pieces, and I've been a lot more about quantity over quality lately. I'll probably go back to doing like big epic stuff at some point. But I found that my 3D stuff has been scratching that big epic art itch, so I can do more experimental, more exploratory stuff. So yeah, I'm actually liking this marker a lot more the second time around. One of the first things I made with these markers, if I can dig it up here, is this. This is where I just started with the marker dry and then kind of blended it out, which, you know, it's interesting. It's okay, but I'm not wild on it. Oh yeah, 1 second here. I am going to post something. I told a couple of people I would send links to this. My computer is not liking this whole streaming thing. Alright, I'm gonna, while my paper is still wet, I'm gonna add some more. Oh, this is fun. Now one risk of the watercolor, oh yeah, look at the way this yellow blends out the blue. Oh, that's great. Love it. Love it. Yeah, see, I can get this kind of a really nice blend, but I'm discovering that the danger of the watercolor marker is that it kind of tears up the paper. And this is not like, this is decent paper. I actually forget which type it is, but it's supposed to be like professional quality. Yeah, but oh man, I love the kind of control I have over this. I mean, compared to a brush, I can do all kinds of cool hatching. Yeah, this is cool. I'm like, even like the way it picks up from the blue. Love it. Dig it. I'm going to post in one more place here. So what I'll probably end up doing is passes. I won't take this all the way. Oh yeah, cool. Good to see you pop in, Doug. I'm glad that the streaming directly to Facebook thing is working out, because most of my followers are on Facebook, and I'm glad I don't have to spam everybody. So yeah, anyways, back to it. So you have this nice larger tip available on these markers as well. So what I may do is see if I can find a a marker that's just straight water. Because wouldn't that be a great blender? I don't know, do any of my watercolor friends watching this, do you know of anything like this, like a water blender marker? It's like the fidelity you have on this is just great. I can just kind of go over my edges, and it's pretty fun. And so I can kind of do this cross hatching thing, and it picks up the color underneath it in this really interesting way, getting kind of a. It looks like some of the stylized illustrations I've seen from the 80s, actually. This kind of like playing around with these cross lines. I can't think of specific illustrators from that. It just is reminiscent of that to me right now. Oh man, that really glows. Super cool. Yeah, this is one of those ones where I'm going to, I might not do too much more to it, and I'll scan it in, and it's just sort of like a save point. I'll probably address it tomorrow or the next time I stream, but I'm a little afraid I might ruin some of what I like going on in this. Yeah, let's say we start another one, and maybe a similar approach. Oh boy, you know, if I add, I really like the idea that this is like reflecting on water. Nope, not gonna touch it. Not gonna touch it. I, save me from myself sometimes. I do want to do one where I show the micron workflow. I got all these, I've been really into colored microns lately. I have a lot of like, Burnt Sienna is my favorite one, but I've got some other ones too. Where did I put those? 1 second. So you got to point out all the stuff on the table. This is a spritzer bottle. We have here water, and I had someone from a different chat ask me about things on my table. Yeah, this is where I wipe my brushes, but I keep forgetting to use that. I guess I don't need it. And this thing here is actually a large brush. Alright, so colored microns. So typically what I'll do with these is a lot of the stuff I have been and will be posting on Facebook have been, you know, drawings that have been tinted later. So I'm kind of doing the reverse right now. So I want to do an abstraction where I pull out my favorite strokes and kind of outline them. Molotow do empty markers. You might be able to use those. Oh yeah, I do know the Molotow markers. I think I have some of those. Belinda from Facebook is mentioning you can buy blank markers. Let's see if I have one here. Yeah, I kind of forgot about those. My problem with the Molotows is they don't come to the right kind of point. I really like these Winsor & Newtons because they have such a nice, like, it just comes to a nice point. The Molotows are kind of rounded. Unless there's some that I haven't seen. I haven't followed that link that you posted. Because it turned your link into a smiley. Nice. So I can demonstrate, I might do something again with these where let's go bold here and just go in with the markers and make something kind of an ellipse fanatic. I'm going to seed it with something that I'm going to eventually put water on. This is yellow ochre. And so what I want to do with this is really explore pattern. You know, let's get some intricacy here and then kind of blend it out and see what survives. Do some like psychedelic patterning here. And see, when I add some, actually I don't want to do it with this brush. I'll do it with this brush. My hope is that I can kind of, yeah, see, it's a little, I guess I'm still learning. So I think with the markers is certain pigments kind of take over. I'll still play with this, but I have yet to make something with this wet and dry technique that I'm really happy with. I mean, I do like the vibrancy of these versus, like, I've tried the whole like watercolor pencil thing, and there's always just this kind of dead look to watercolor pencils. I mean, I admittedly have not given them a huge shot. I have a few. I could play with some now, actually. That might be fun. But I've just found that they create this look that just looks very obviously watercolor pencil in a way that looks, at least when I've done them, that looks kind of stilted, and I think they're maybe best used in supplement to, regular watercolor rather than like kind of taking the reins of the piece. And they're kind of unusual looking brushes for people who haven't seen these. These are called travel brushes. And so you can take them apart and put it in, and I just use these as my primary brushes now. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, and so it's but even if I didn't, I mean, they're great brushes, and really, like, cost wise they're about the same as a normal brush, so you might as well just have that extra option. So I remember trying to fly with my non-travel brushes and always being worried about them like getting crushed and stuff. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to make this kind of spontaneous. Let's see how it's picking it up like that. Yeah. So this is going to be something more organic. How about this is like an alien plant of some kind. So let's think about how to make it more like that. This might be a good chance to go in with the marker again and while it's wet, and just kind of add maybe some little seed things. It's actually, this one is not bleeding out as much. I wonder if the different pigments and the different markers, let's see, Belinda recommends jet pens would take water brushes. Oh yeah, I have a couple water brushes. Water blending. Yeah, I just want something that's a little stiffer, I think. Yeah, Kuretake. Yeah, those are good brushes. I'm just checking my channels to see how things look on the different platforms. So YouTube test stream is not live. Where is... This is my first time ever using YouTube. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's fun. The top recommended YouTube video for me is my own video. They know me so well. So YouTube test stream is not live. Oh, okay. It's well, it works. Oh, it's fun. All right. What's great about this Restream thing is it gives me all my chats without actually having to play a video, which means I don't have to use the extra bandwidth, which is pretty great. Okay, back to it. So I also, yesterday I was showing off the rainbow pencil. This one actually looks like, rainbow pencil is not going to work so well in wet paper, but surprisingly enough, despite all the rain here in San Diego, I'm actually drawing very quickly. That's interesting. The pencil's actually kind of blending this out a little bit. Yeah, that's not a good way to go, though. It's not showing up. So I'm going to call on some drawing stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm making this kind of like an asymmetric sunflower thing. I think that's kind of an interesting idea. I mean, I gravitate towards radial symmetry a lot, as anyone who's seen my work knows. But this one I'm going to have kind of the center part of the flower, you know, maybe the reproductive part. It's going to, you know, this is actually a very dry marker. Unless it's just the fact that the paper stamp. Let's try a bigger one. It's better. It's kind of cool to see the thumbnail in the video. It kind of makes me see it from a different light. Da, 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 da. So here's where it gets interesting is so this plant might have some like very feathery kind of petals. So I'm gonna add. I'm just gonna paint in a few, like use some yellow ochre for this here. A little darker than I wanted, but so yeah, all the petals are going to be kind of hanging off in this like asymmetric kind of a way. The biggest ones are right out here, and then they get smaller and smaller again. Kind of jump around a lot unnecessarily. I'm going to go back in with the pen again. Actually, I'll add one more petal while it's still on my brush. I tend to exaggerate the size difference as things go back in space. This one is kind of messing with you because the darkest one is in the back here. Blend that out. And then darken this one to kind of bring it forward. I don't really know what's going on here. This was just kind of a whim. I could turn it into a different part of its anatomy, I guess. Because it does look a little bit strange. Let's see if... Luckily these, this is pretty reworkable. I mean, it actually seems like these... Actually, it's pretty strange. The watercolor markers seem a lot more workable once they've dried than any actual like watercolor I've used. I'm not actually sure why. Maybe they aren't just straight watercolor pigment, or there's something else in them. And we're going to give it a shadow here. Yeah, the damp paper's not really taking this very well. So the fun starts when you do this kind of dry brush thing, is tracing the patterns that so when it grazed over the cold pressed paper, it makes this kind of a texture. What I like to do is go in and actually like trace those patterns with my pen and kind of make things like pop a little bit. And so it kind of has this effect that it looks like you maybe drew with the pen first and then meticulously filled in all of the little everything. Oh, hi Ingrid again. It's a cool name. Primary Feathers, I like it. So just bouncing around between the different boy, this is so dark. This is supposed to be yellow ochre and it looks more like a sienna. When I bought this, I kind of anticipated that these markers would be kind of heavy-handed compared to how I usually work, and so I got these lighter colors. I thought that this would be, you know, like basically this pigment here. It is not. What's kind of fun is I can grab into it here, and then I can bring it out here. So I can see the potential for people who are a lot more drawing minded to use these to good effect. That looks like a plique azure enamel. I don't know what you mean by plique azure. Can you explain what you mean by that? I'm just going to blend all of this out just a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of different than the look that I've been doing with watercolor. I wouldn't say it's the best look, but it's not terrible either. It's kind of fresh, kind of spontaneous. Metal cells filled with glass like mini stained glass. Metal cells filled with glass. Oh yeah, I've seen that stuff. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, you're talking about this like middle part, right? Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Looks very cellular. So this brush that I've been kind of cringing about using because something happened to it chemically. It like something got onto the enamel and it's like permanently super sticky. I don't know if anyone's ever had that happen. It's like, it's really gross. I kind of hate touching it. I meant to cover it in tape and forgot. But this is called a grainer brush. So you can see here, it's got this great like texture here. I thought I might use that to add some texture to this. And then I'll probably go. I'm just doing short streams right now. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm going to go get dinner. Just trying to do it a little bit every day, get into the habit. When I used to stream before, I'd do these pretty epic long ones. And I found that they'd burn me out in such a way like I wouldn't really want to do them again for a while. And so I'm just doing moderation here. Yeah, see, this complements the look pretty well actually. I love this brush, except for, you know, the super gross handle. I have other types of handles. Oh, you're talking about, I mean, are you saying that you, if you get a handle that goes bad like this, you just like replace it? This kind of brush is great for fur, and just any kind of texture. I really like it. And what's really interesting about it is it's displacing the stuff laid down by the watercolor marker in a way that I think if I were laying this down on normal watercolor, it would yeah, it's kind of displacing it in a way that makes me think that this watercolor marker, it doesn't really ever sink in. It doesn't bake into the paper the way you would expect normal watercolor to do it. So I'm kind of curious about that. I might actually do a little research online and see like what might be going on. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just makes me wonder about like archivalness and such. Yeah, just tape it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's gross. It's gross in the way that, like, if you guys ever had like Wacom pens that, like, it's that silicone on the pen, like it'll if you don't use them and like for a long time, they get this like really, really sticky film on them. That's like literally the silicone breaking down. It's super gross. And you just have to kind of like use them more to get them to unstick. I've looked it up. I'm not the only one who's had this problem. And it's just weird. It seems like of all the plastic options there are, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's like, I think I would have had to have spilled gum arabic or something to get. It's like the actual paint is breaking down. It's like there's some kind of lacquer or some kind of. It's like, I think I've had this happen with thinner in oil painting, is when the turpentine gets onto the lacquer of it breaks it down and it becomes super sticky. And it's like, that's what's happening here. But with, I never exposed this to any turpentine, so I'm just like trying to figure out what would have caused it to do that. Thinking temperatures maybe, or like, I don't know. Now that I think this is dry, I'm going to go over it again with give it that cellular look again. I really like this kind of idea of an asymmetric flower. I think I might pursue this more. Maybe even do some like 3D stuff with it. And that's the fun thing about doing. I find that making stuff is one of the best ways to get ideas. It's very much like strokes of an engine. So yeah, it's taking the marker a little bit better now. I don't really like that white that's peeking through that. Well, maybe a little bit. I'll just leave a tiny bit. Yeah, this kind of thing, it forces me to get a lot darker than I usually work on. Yes, I'm working on a magnet whiteboard. So what this is this is a Strata easel tabletop. And so it's this, it's a company that makes things for plein air drawing. So it's got an adapter at the bottom of this table that goes into a tripod. So I'm just working with like a regular standard tripod, which means that, here's the cool thing, it's got a ball head mount. So check this out. I can move this whole thing in multiple dimensions. I'm gonna take this off. So, which is very useful, especially for design drawings. Oh, good luck on the upcoming show. Cool, cool. Yep, I'm about to go too, so you won't be missing much. So yeah, so what I did was then I velcroed a whiteboard to that surface. Yeah, and these are just like little coin magnets I got off Amazon. It works great. What's really nice about it too is if I go out in plein air, it's just, especially putting 4 of these on, like you won't have to worry about the wind blowing your paper over, So yeah, I just got, it's like a $15 magnet board. And it's velcroed on, so I can take it off if I really want to. This is made out of aluminum for the actual bottom. Yeah, I can actually link you the tabletop. It's pretty great. It's not cheap, but it's been worth it for me. Because essentially, I have a portable standing desk that can fit in a carry-on. And so I did a concept gig and in a different state a couple months ago, and I was able to just bring this whole setup and have the ergonomics that I wanted, and it saved my neck because like the last time I worked there, I was on a flat table and I was doing this for like 3 weeks. And so this is like, you know, it's pretty great. And then you can actually make it completely vertical too if you really want to. See, before I sign off, I'll link it to you. It's like $70. But yeah, compared to the price of a standing desk, it's pretty great. So it has a little lip on it. And I actually keep that's supposed to like hold your drawing tools. I find it gets in the way of my wrist a little bit, so I actually have the lip at the top. You can see it right there. Yeah. No, that's exactly what this is. And you can buy an easel there, but any easel will do. I got this one for portability. If I stand, it's a little bit flimsy, but I'm really tall, so I have to like make it fully extended. But you can get a really sturdy one, and it's essentially like just for a studio, you know. Oh, that's weird. So apparently when I send a message to someone in chat, it doesn't show up in Facebook. Yeah, what I would really like to get is the photographers have an arm that it's for that can mount to a table, and it's got the standard screw size. So what I'd like to do is get one of those arms and then attach this table to that arm, and it'll be really modular. It's like I can easily move it from my stationary table to here. And what would be great about having it on a table is that I can kind of put my legs underneath better, and it's probably a little sturdier. But those aren't cheap either. I'm kind of like holding off for now. But yeah, well, I mean, I might continue working on this one, maybe in a future session, but for now I'm gonna go. Thank you for everybody who stopped in. It was fun. Yeah. So yeah, you linked the Strata easel thing. I for some reason I can't. I have a specific. Here, actually, let me go into Facebook before I go, just to see what like streaming from Facebook is like. Okay, there we are. So, okay, I see it in here. It's on my homepage. Well, I'm glad that overall the restream thing's working out. I don't know why it's not. On this one, maybe in a future session, but for now I'm gonna go. Oh man, so it's not actually loading the Facebook page so I can post this darn link. Come on, oh there we are. You can do it, you can do it. Okay, I see it in here. It's on my homepage. All right. So it should be in. You know what? I think I replied to your post, Belinda, with this link. I think it's. Yeah, I did. It's not in the it's not in the standard. Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, thanks for stopping in. All right. I am gonna go for reals now. Bye, everybody.